The three main areas of the human brain are the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the medulla. The four subdivisions of the cerebral cortex are the frontal lobe, the temporal lobe, the parietal lobe, and the occipital lobe. Your frontal lobe is responsible for your higher order of thinking, so your cognitive faculties. And these would include memory, judgment, perception, and logic, and speech, and so on and so forth. So your temporal lobe is responsible for auditory perception, and your parietal lobe is responsible for sensory processes, attention, and language, and your occipital lobe is responsible for vision. So the cerebellum is responsible for motor skills such as reflexes, posture, and balance. And the medulla, which consists of the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata, is responsible for the life-sustaining functions of the body, such as blood pressure, heart rate, and respiration. So it regulates those things. Other areas of the brain include the basal ganglia, which is a cluster of neurons found deep within the brain. And at the center of your brain is the pineal gland, which is a part of the epithalamus, and the epithalamus is a part of the diencephalon. But your pineal gland, right before human death, releases a naturally occurring hallucinogen called dimethyltryptamine, and that is how people have their dying hallucinations of seeing Christ and so on. Other areas of the brain, aside from what I mentioned, include the precentral gyrus and the cingulate cortex. And the other areas of the diencephalon are the hypothalamus, the subthalamus, and the thalamus. And then there are some areas including the amygdala, the corpus striatum, and the arcus striatum. So there are many neurotransmitters, which are chemical messengers or electrical impulses. They travel from the axon of one neuron through the synaptic junction to the dendrite of the neighboring neuron. So gamma aminobutyric acid, also known as GABA, which it's abbreviated as, quiets rather than excites neurons. Serotonin is linked to anxiety and depression. That's another neurotransmitter. And another one is called norepinephrine, which regulates mood. And then there's dopamine, which regulates key emotional responses. And then there is epinephrine, which is just adrenaline, and acetylcholine, which regulates memory.